Hi, welcome to Fusion Beads. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the Ricks Beading Loom as well as the Little Ricky Beading Loom. Both of these were designed by Paul Ricks. These are a great design in that he's designed it so when we're finished, we only end up with 2 warp threads. They're both made of wood, a nice sturdy design, and with adjustable length for flexibility in your finished project. When you get the Little Ricky, it's going to come disassembled, so you're going to want to put that together. I'm going to show you how in just a second. When you get the original, it comes already assembled for you, which is great. Both come with 4 pegs. This is for the Little Ricky, and this is for the original. Also 4 warp rods and stoppers, and a warp separator card. When you get the Little Ricky, you're going to want to start by adding in the eyelet screws into the holes that come already pre-drilled. Then you can see that there's 2 pegs here. So this is your headstock. This is the one that's closest to you. You're going to start by putting that in first. You've got 2 holes here, and you're going to insert the pegs right into there. This is great because it does break down and it's easy for travel. Then you're going to want to figure out how long you want your finished piece and find the holes that match. And go ahead and put in your tailstock. So the Little Ricky measures 2.5 inches wide by 9 inches long. The original measures 3.5 inches wide by 13 inches long. The original has an adjustable tailstock as well, adjusted by the wing nuts on either side. Okay, now that we've set up our Little Ricky, you would want to go ahead and add your warp rods and go ahead and warp. You're going to do the exact same that you would do on the original. So I'm going to go ahead and show you in just a second how to warp your loom. Okay, let's go ahead and set up our Ricks Beading Loom, adding the warp rods, and then we'll warp our loom. Okay, first of all, it comes with extra warp rods, which are easily stored on these handy magnets back here. The Ricks original comes with 2 magnets, so you can put your extras here or your needle. So we're only going to use 2 right now. I'm going to go ahead and slide off the stopper off of one side. Slide it through the eye screws on the headstock side and go ahead and put that stopper back in. And go nice and tight so it doesn't move anymore. And then do the same on the tailstock. And again, nice and tight so it doesn't move. All right, your warp threads are going to be positioned between these 2 warp rods. So when figuring out the length of your piece, you're going to want to measure between these 2 pieces. I'm going to take my measuring tape and go ahead and measure the length here. If I need to adjust it, again, I'm going to adjust the tailstock, maneuvering it with the wing nuts here. Okay, you'll see that there's 5 peg holes on each side, the headstock and the tailstock side. These are going to be where your pegs go. Each of the pegs have a small slit in them. You guys see that small slit there? This is going to help hold our thread. So I'm going to go ahead and take some thread. I like to use a fireline thread or another thread that's not going to stretch too much when I do my loom work. So first of all, you're going to put a little piece of thread into that slit that I just showed you. Wrap the thread around several times around here. We're going to be working this thread in later, so we want enough to be able to work in. Okay. And then I like to go back through that slit so it doesn't slip out. All right. And then starting on my left, I'm going to make a piece that's only a few rows wide. So I'm going to start right in the second notch here, putting my peg in. All right, to warp my loom, I'm going to go over the 2 warp rods once, and then back under the warp rods, both of them, back through. I like to use these little bobbins to hold my thread because then I can get over and under these warp rods easily. So right now I've got 2 warps. I'm going to go back over my warp rods again. That for 3 warps, come back under. And again, I'm going under again on this side. That's 4 warps. Come back over 5. And then I'm going to come over 6 warps. So 6 warps is going to give me 5 beads wide, a piece that's 5 beads wide. Now, no matter which side you end on, you want to end by going over the last warp rod. So I'm going to go over right here. And then I'm going to take another peg here. Again, going through the slit with a thread. Wrapping the thread around several times because we're going to use that thread at the end to finish it off. And then go ahead and put it in to the closest peg. I'm going to go right into this one here. Okay, let me cut off that thread because I don't need that anymore using my Xeron scissors. All right, now you can see the threads are a little bit loose. You can go ahead and give this a little turn to tighten it up ever so slightly. And then I want to space out my warp threads about this, the width of the beads that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using size 11 Delica beads over here to create my piece. Now, you can see that my warp threads, if we were to look at this sideways, you see that? Some of the threads are above the warp rods and some are below. So what you've got here is a handy warp separator card. And this is going to help us even out our warps, so we can easily get our beads right in between. The way this works is you're going to weave the warp separator card in between each of the threads, bringing the warp threads that are at the bottom up and bringing the warp threads that are on top down. So I'm going to show you how that looks here. I'm going to go ahead and start with the first one goes above my card. Second one goes below, up, down, and right in. So now you can see that these are all nice and even and on the same plane right above my warp separator card here. Okay, let me go ahead and start adding beads. I'll show you how that looks. What I've done is I've added thread to one more peg here. And I'm going to put that in to my leftmost hole here. And on the other end of this, I've got my needle already threaded for you. So what you want to do is pass your needle under the warp threads. And like I said, I've got 6 warp threads here. So I've got space for 5 beads. So I'm going to go ahead and start by picking up 5 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to take these beads and come up right in between each of the warp threads. Okay. Now it's important that I'm holding the beads up, pushing them up, because as I bring my thread through, my needle is now going to pass back through the beads, making sure to be on top of the warp threads themselves when I pass back through the beads. This is going to trap the beads in between the warp threads. So the weft thread is both below the warp and above, trapping the beads in between. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull this nice and tight. And right up against that warp separator card. All right, let's do that again. Pass it right underneath the warp threads. Pick up my beads, 5 of them. Come back under. I like to use my needle as a brace to push my beads up in there, keeping them all nice and even. Okay, pull the thread through. Pass my needle back through the beads, on making sure that my needle's on top of the warp threads, and pull it all the way through. You're going to want to do this a couple times, 2 or 3 rows. I'm going to do 1 more row, pass it back under, grab 5 beads again, push the beads up in between the warp threads, pull my needle through, the needle goes back through all of those beads, and pull the thread nice and tight, and push the beads down. You can see how it's coming together really quickly. At this point, now that I've had 2 or 3 rows, you're going to want to go ahead and take out your warp separator card and set that aside. And then slide your beadwork all the way down to the bottom. And now you can go ahead and just keep going all the way to the end. Okay. You can find this and many more tools and projects at fusionbeads.com. To see all of our loom projects, visit our Inspiration Project Gallery.